What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. You know we got another banger for y'all on the horizon, so kick back, relax, and come take a ride with your boy. Now, it was an eventful weekend and Monday for women's college hoops as the round of 32 games finished up, and we know what the matchups are heading into the Sweet 16. We're going to take a look back at some of these games. UConn getting a dub. Also, Iowa, Caitlin Clark playing her last game at home, lighting the world on fire. We saw some winners. We saw some losers. And also, one famous journalist, big time, made some comments about Kim Mulkey, calling her laughable for wanting to sue the Washington Post. But before we get into all that, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest, and join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
So in my previous videos, we've been talking about the whole LSU Kim Mulkey situation and this article that we're all waiting to drop. Honestly, I kind of agree with the comments that were made by journalist Jemelle Hill, who called Kim Mulkey laughable. Just more so about the part of how she lit a fire that we didn't know what was going on and that was there. She brought attention to this article more so than any other PR or publicity could have done. Now, before it was kind of like, we didn't really know about the article like that. Nobody was really checking for it. But after seeing Mulkey's reaction and hearing her comments, going as far as threatening to sue the Washington Post, one of the most prestigious papers in our country, well, Jemelle Hill had some thoughts that she shared recently in her interview.
Every day there's a fight to do good journalism, and I feel like that fight has been lost. I hate to sound very pessimistic, as I often I find myself being these days, but Kim Mulkey played from a playbook that has worked. It worked for the former president of the United States as well. Once you label the news media the enemy of the state, and once you are able to get people distracted from whatever is the information to come, listen, Kent Babb, who is supposedly the journalist who is working on the story, he should be very happy. I don't know if the Washington Post was planning to put the story behind a paywall, but put one down by it now, because now we're all interested. Kim Mulkey basically drew attention to a fire we didn't even know was happening. And a lot of people look at this as a strategy to get out front. I think it was a bad strategy, because we're more interested than ever in this story. And not to mention, even though she said afterwards that, her team wasn't distracted. I mean, LSU didn't, despite the final score, they didn't play particularly well. I'm not saying that these two things are related, but we get on players all the time and use the word distraction to include everything under the sun. And here you have the coach kind of doing the same thing. Listen, journalism has lost the overall fight. I mean, misinformation and disinformation is here. And now if you just label everything to be fake or label everything to be true, whether you've seen the evidence or not, that is enough of a seed that is planted in people's mind to already have an opinion about something that they haven't seen. Investigative journalism is hard work. It's practically dead in our industry because it's costly, because there's only a limited number of people who can do it. And then on top of that, it creates a level of backlash that a lot of news organizations are no longer comfortable accepting. But do know this, the Washington Post has been at this a very long time. And Kim Mulkey can threatening the paper that brought us Watergate, that took down Richard Nixon, is laughable and amusing in itself.
Look, I don't know what's in the article. Nobody does. It hasn't dropped yet. We're still waiting in anticipation, but I do agree that this brought a lot more attention. Kim Mulkey's rant brought way more attention to this article and got way more people interested than before, when it was, gonna be coming out, before she acknowledged it. You know what I'm saying? Like, before she went on that rampage, that rant, and just spazzed, we wasn't checking for this article. Now it comes out the guy's been working on it for 2 years. She's saying she had 48 hours. It sounded like she had 2 years to respond, did not. And now we get the ultimatum of the 48 hours, which we know now she did not respond to the reporter, do any kind of quotes, comments, interviews, or anything like that. He reached out to former players, former assistants of Coach Mulkey's, and I don't know, it seems like this could be potentially damaging, and the more the anticipation builds, the hungrier we are for this article. So it'll be interesting to see. I personally don't think it's been a distraction to the team. Yeah, they came out a little flat for, 6 quarters of basketball, but they finished strong against Middle Tennessee State and left no doubt that they are here to defend that national championship. They are quieting out the noise. Angel Reese, Flau'jae Johnson, Anissa Morrow, and company have continued to just Harlem shake through the pressure and keep the main thing, which is performing on the court, surviving, and advancing to the Sweet 16. So it'll be interesting, though. This is definitely a situation we have to continue to monitor as more details come out. But enough of that. Let's get into the on-the-court action, man, because we had a crazy lineup of games featuring some of the game's biggest stars. In our first game, we got to talk about Notre Dame's Big Three helping them advance to the Sweet 16. They are 29-6 on the season and came out and smacked Ole Miss in the mouth in the first quarter and never looked back. The Irish shot 50% from the field, 44.4% from three, knocking down 4 threes compared to Ole Miss's 3. They shot 15 of 7 from the free throw line, 88% compared to Ole Miss's 81.8%. Now, Ole Miss won the battle on the glass +6, but Notre Dame's Big Three was too much to overcome. 17 assists, 2 blocks, 9 steals, and they forced 22 turnovers. And, this team is just overperformed. Take away an All-American from any team like Olivia Miles, and they're not going to be the same squad. But the Big Three now, Maddie Westbelt, 20 points, 1 assist, 5 rebounds. She's been sensational at the forward spot for this group. Sonia Citron, the upperclassman, finished with 17, 6, and 10. And she's been on fire. She's been lights out since this tournament started. And then the sensational freshman, Hannah Hidalgo, 19 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. When you mention Juju, you gotta mention Hidalgo as well, because she is up there in the elite upper echelon of this freshman class. So Notre Dame gets it done, gets the big win, 71-56 behind their Big Three. And I tell you, man, I felt this way when they were going through the AC tournament, when they were closing the season out. I felt like Notre Dame could be one of those teams to make a run. And this Big Three can carry them as far as they possibly want to go, man. I love this team. Next up, they got Oregon State. And this will be a very tough matchup, man. The Beavers are a very talented team as well in their own right. So it'll be a big-time matchup, man. Lots of scoring, I think. But Notre Dame, man, hey, Westbelt, Citron, Hidalgo, getting it done. Hey, that's what they do. In our next contest, man, NC State beat Tennessee 79-72. Tennessee, man, they trailed by over 20 points in this contest, and Rakia Jackson did everything she possibly could to lift the Vols past the Wolfpack, but it was just not enough. Tennessee shot better from the field, 45%. They also tied the Wolfpack, both teams knocking down 5 threes. The free throws ended up killing Tennessee, though. They left 6 points at the line, man, and it's just tough when you got another team that knocks down 14 of 19, and it proved to be the difference in this game other than the turnovers. But looking at Tennessee, they dominate the glass 39-36, and that's just a strength of their team, that front court. They got some really good size on their roster, man. NC State wins the assist battle 12-10, blocked 5 shots, 6 steals, and they forced 10 turnovers. Oh, the turnovers will continue to do you in. Now, we mentioned Rakia Jackson was just on another level. She finished with 33 and 10, led the team in points, rebounds, and minutes the way she has all season. One of the most skilled and talented and versatile players in the nation. We see her college career come to a close, but, we're expecting her to be a top 3 draft pick in the WNBA draft this summer. For NC State, it was a more balanced attack, man. Their leading scorer this season, Isaiah James, continues to just be reliable and that number one option in the backcourt. 22 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds for her. Sanaya Rivers, one of her best games in months, man. At the point guard position, 6'2", 6'3", you know what I'm saying? 6'1", 6'2". She's that's a lot of length that the Wolfpack are boasting. Rivers finishes with 20 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds. Zoe Brooks came in as well and put up 16 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds for her. And River Baldwin holding down the paint for this squad on both ends, 11 points and 7 rebounds for her. And the Wolfpack are marching on. NC State will have a huge matchup against Stanford in the Sweet 16 on Friday, so definitely going to be must-watch TV there. They're going to have to deal with a lot of production from that Stanford front court. I'm going to just go ahead and let y'all know that right now. Moving on, though, man, we had two of the best, most electrifying guards in the nation. Deasia Fair as well as Paige Beckers squaring off. Fair, the number 3 all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball history. Syracuse fought hard, but it just wasn't enough. They came up short to UConn, 72-64. UConn, man, 50.9% shooting from the field. They go 8 of 17 from 3. Shoot 47.1% from behind the line, from deep. And then they win the free throw battle 75% to 71.4. It was a battle on the glass. UConn wins +1. Grateful to Aaliyah Edwards, but this group definitely rebounds as a team, and they have been for a while now. They win the assist battle as well. The Huskies have 17 assists compared to the Orange 16. 10 steals for both squads. A lot of turnovers in this game. And Syracuse, turnovers, missed free throws, costly, man. They end up with 16 turnovers, but UConn had 17, so they're really lucky it didn't cost them, man. This game was sloppy for stints. And then Deasia Fair had a really slow start in the first half. Came out balling in the second half, scored 16 of her 20 in the second half. She finished with 20 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds to close out a historic college career, man. Syracuse also got good performances from Sophie Burrows, who had 18 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and then Georgia Woolley also had 18, 4, and 4 for this group. So, man, the backcourt did everything they could. It just wasn't enough. Aaliyah Edwards with a game-high 11 rebounds, 11 points, 3 assists. Paige Beckers with a game-high 32. 6 assists, 10 rebounds for her, man. And she really could have had way more points. She passed up on a few open looks, man, just being very unselfish. Ashlyn Shade continues her hot shooting, finishing with 19 points, 1 assist, 4 rebounds. KK Arnold, another freshman for this group, 10 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds for her. And the Huskies have 4 players in double figures, really balanced attack, man. Salute to them, and they advance to the Sweet 16. Not unfamiliar territory for them. UConn faces a very scrappy Duke team, though, a very deep Duke team as well, that just pulled off a big upset over Ohio State. So that is going to be a dogfight. Will Duke's depth bother UConn, who doesn't play that many? I don't know. We will have to see. It's a contrast in style, so it'll be an exciting matchup. Caitlin Clark finale. Last time playing in Iowa City, they get the dub over a very tough team in West Virginia. Very scrappy, very physical team, man. They were bodying up on Caitlin Clark, especially early. But Iowa takes the win 64-54 over the Mountaineers. And Iowa, man, I'm telling you, it wasn't, for both teams, honestly, it was pretty horrid shooting nights. Iowa shoots 36.2% from the field. West Virginia shooting a measly 33.9% from the field. West Virginia did knock down 9 3-pointers, though, which helped them close the gap multiple times in this game and brought them within striking distance. On the other side, Iowa went 5 of 22, but look at the free throw differential. Iowa hit 25 out of 30 attempts compared to 3 out of 5 for West Virginia. When I tell y'all it was a very physical game, but a lot of whistles were blowing against West Virginia, man. Iowa definitely got a little bit of that home cooking, but they definitely earned the win too. But very low scoring, slow-paced game for the most part. Iowa wins it on the glass 42-35. 33 defensive rebounds, just holding West Virginia to 1 shot per possession. Only 7 assists, though, man. It was a lot of ISO ball and a lot of second chance putback opportunities for Iowa. They do get 5 blocks. 15 turnovers, though, compared to West Virginia's 9, man. I'm telling you, that pressure of West Virginia lives on the women's side as well. We got to shout out J.J. Quinterly, man, who's had a sensational season. One of the most explosive guards in the nation, was hitting her shots. Came up with a couple big 3-pointers, and they fell up short, but definitely West Virginia got to hold their heads high. Caitlin Clark, slight 32-piece, 3 assists, 8 rebounds. Hannah Stokey was huge, game high 11 rebounds, 12 points for the sophomore forward, who is just dynamic in transition. She gets up and down that court, beating other bigs, and the guards for Iowa do an incredible job of finding her in transition. It was a great night for Sydney Falter, who's just been playing sensational, injected into that starting lineup with Molly Davis out. She had 13 points, 2 assists, 7 rebounds. Kate Martin, the senior point guard, came up with some big rebounds for this squad as well that helped keep West Virginia at bay. She finished with 7 points, 2 assists, 10 rebounds of her own. And Iowa has 4 players that score in double figures. Gabby Marshall not making any impact on the offensive side, but she was definitely causing all types of problems, getting steals on the defensive side, jumping passing lanes and picking pockets. So they definitely needed that defensive performance from her. Iowa will next be in action on March the 30th, which is a Saturday, where they play Colorado, who won a tough game of their own. Jalen Sherrod, Aaronette Von Lay, Frida Foreman. It's going to be a really, really, I think, high-scoring game. I'm going to go out and say it. I think, this is a battle of 2 high-powered offenses. Colorado has a little bit more depth, but they don't have Caitlin Clark. And it should be a really good test for Iowa, man. We mentioned they are in the bracket of death, and they are continuing to roll through it. 2C UCLA survived a strong push from Creighton, man. And I tell you what, UCLA trailed a lot in this game, and they used a big second half comeback to really seal the deal and lock in their spot for the Sweet 16. They take the win 67-63. Looking at the breakdown, UCLA shot 43.9% compared to Creighton's 45.6%. Creighton also knocked down more 3-pointers, 7-5. But again, we see the free throw differential come into effect. UCLA shoots 14 of them compared to Creighton's 6. They knocked down 12 of 14 free throws, and it was one of the differences. But also, we know Creighton's 3-point shooting was very, very streaky, and it kept them in this game. It got them to a lead. They jumped out early, out front of UCLA. But UCLA's size and star power, man, just was really the difference. They win the rebounding battle 40-22. 16 assists for them compared to 17 from Creighton. 13 turnovers for UCLA, man. It was rough showing for them in the first half, man. It was looking like they might be going home. And Creighton had it. The Blue Jays, man, they had it firing on all cylinders. Lauren Jensen finished with 20 points. Morgan Maley, 18 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Emma Rosniak, 14 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds for her. And Creighton played a good game, man. And this was a very impressive performance for them. They gave UCLA all they could handle, a team that a lot of people are expecting to be in the national championship. Lauren Betts, the sophomore, was a huge difference in this game. Her, speaking of another sophomore, Kiki Rice, really put this UCLA team on their backs and made plays to close out the Blue Jays. Betts finishes with a huge double-double, 20 points, 3 assists, 10 rebounds. They had nobody to match up with the big. And then Kiki Rice, the sensational point guard for this group, 24 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. She is the closer. They went to her late, and she delivered with big shot after big shot to send the Bruins to the Sweet 16, man. And this team has just been impressive all year long, one of the best in the nation. They're battle-tested, and they're moving on. They have a mega matchup with LSU. And, man, I tell you what, this is going to be primetime TV. You want to talk about points being scored. Lauren Betts going up against this front court with Angel Reese and Anissa Morrow. Kiki Rice versus Flau'jae Johnson. Oh, my goodness, this is going to be must watch. Get your popcorn on Saturday, March the 30th. They've got the early game tipping off at 1, and neither team is ducking no smoke. The lights is going to be on. It is time to perform. So LSU will have their hands full, but I'm not making any predictions for this game other than it's going to be an instant classic. So I can't wait to see these two teams match up. UCLA will be going up against a lot more size than Creighton had. That is for sure. Juju Watkins and USC continue to roll on as they dominate Kansas by 18, 73-55 to move on to the Sweet 16. The Trojans move to 29-5 on the season, and they are one of the hottest teams in the nation. They shot 37.3% from the field. They knocked down 13 three-pointers compared to Kansas's 3. They did lose the battle at the free throw line. Both teams shot 17 free throws. Kansas made 2 more, but it did not matter. The glass was a pretty even battle as well. Kansas was +1, 40-39. USC, 16 assists, 10 blocks. Are you kidding me? And 12 steals and forcing 18 turnovers, man. The defense is on another level, and they hold Kansas to under 60 points. Shout out to Juju. Shout out to Rhea Marshall. Just one of the best bigs in the nation that has continued to be a force on both ends for this group. Mackenzie Forbes has been on fire since the NCAA tournament started. She's really in a really good rhythm right now. The knockdown shooter. She's finding her shots, getting to her spots. It's no wasted movements. She finishes with 20 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. What a great addition to this team. Juju finished with 28 points, game high, 5 assists, and 11 rebounds as well in 36 minutes of play. Another transfer, Kayla Padilla, 9 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds for her. And this Trojans team continues to march on, man. They've answered every test thrown their way. I think people really feel like they're ahead of schedule right now, man. They were even better than last year, and they lost two WNBA draft picks. It didn't matter. Juju came in and took over the state of California. Everything is running through her right now, and she's been sensational. Another one of those top freshmen, runner-up for National Player of the Year, and after Caitlin Clark out of there, Juju got next. Rounding out our slate of games, Gonzaga picks up the win at home over a very talented Utah squad led by Alyssa Peely, 77-66. And we've got some interesting notes from this game, but we'll get into the post game afterwards. So Gonzaga shot an impressive 48% from the field, knocked down 12 three-pointers compared to Utah's 9. Utah, shooting the 3 has been a strength of theirs all season. They shoot 26.5 in this game, though. And then Gonzaga, the more aggressive squad, getting those paint touches, shot 22 free throws compared to Utah's 9. They beat them on the glass as well, 37-31. Both teams had 11 turnovers, but it was a lot of shots falling, man. When you shoot 54.5% from 3, knocking down 12 of them things, it's going to be rare that you lose, man. And it's, Utah has a talented team. I'm not taking away anything from them, but it really has been the Alyssa Peely show. She finished with 35, 1 assist, and 7 rebounds. And we've seen her have a few games like this where, the other players just don't match her energy. Kennedy McQueen finished with 12 points, 1 assist, and 7 rebounds. And then the only other double-digit scorer, Deja Young, finished with 11 points and 4 rebounds as well. Sad to see Peely get out of this tournament, man. She's been sensational all year. One of the most versatile players. I don't know if anybody else has helped their draft stock in the college game this season than Peely. Looking on Gonzaga's side, 4 players in double figures, dang near 5. Leading the way for them, Kaylee Trong, 21 points, 2 assists, 7 rebounds for the guard. Her twin, Kayleen Trong, 14 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds for her. The dynamic sisters getting it done in the backcourt for Gonzaga. Yvonne Ejim also had 17 and 13, playing big down low for the Zags. And then the other forward, Eliza Hollingsworth, finished with 13 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds as well. So, hey, man, we got some mega matchups. Gonzaga takes it 77-66, getting Utah up out of there, man. A very talented Utah team led by one of the best players in the nation. Gonzaga has a very, very tough matchup in Texas, the number 1 seed in that region. On Friday, it's going to be a dogfight. Madison Booker and those groups and those Longhorns, man, are definitely going to be a tough out. Gonzaga better bring their A game. I'm telling you right now. And then we got to mention, too, that USC will be matching up against Baylor, a really tough team, too, out of the Big 12, man. Them and Texas had some instant classics. We've seen this talented Baylor team, these guards completely take over games and make shots. So it'll be interesting to see, man, just these 2 matchups coming up. But we did hear from one coach after the Utah game that was mentioning that she heard some racist remarks being made by the crowd at the game.
You know, we had several instances of some kind of racial hate crimes towards our program, and incredibly upsetting for all of us. And, you know, you think in our worlds, in athletics and in university settings, it's shocking, in a like there's so much diversity on a college campus, and so you're just not exposed to that very often. And so when you are, it's like, and you have people say, man, I can't believe that happened. But, racism is real, and it happens, and it's awful. And so for our players, whether they are, white, black, green, whatever, no one knew how to handle it, and it was really upsetting. And for our players and staff to not feel safe in an NCAA tournament environment, it's messed up. And so we moved hotels, and the NCAA and Gonzaga worked to get us in a new hotel, and we appreciate that. But yeah, that's what happened, and it was a distraction and upsetting and unfortunate. This should be a positive for everybody involved. This should be a joyous time for our program, and to have kind of a black eye on that experience is unfortunate. So yeah, that's what happened.
Man, we gotta move past this. It's 2024. Come on, man. Like, it's unnecessary and it's uncalled for. And those student athletes don't deserve that. They're out there laying it all on the line. They deserve the utmost respect, man. Be a fan, enjoy the game, but don't be discriminating out there. These is college kids we talking about here. Come on, man. I mean, gosh, it's sad to see. So you hope, that is dealt with, reprimanded, whatever needs to happen to make things right happens. But hey, man, it was a heck of a few days of women's college hoops for us. I appreciate everybody tuning in, showing love to all the latest content, subscribing, commenting, liking it. And we're going to keep y'all up to date with all the latest and the greatest dealing with the biggest storylines. We heard from Jemelle Hill giving her opinion on the Kim Mulkey LSU situation. We heard, all these games that went down. We're going to have some previews coming as well. But just a lot of great content around women's basketball right now. So y'all make sure to keep tuning in. That's a wrap for us for all the latest and the greatest. I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, hey, we out.